Hey everyone, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. My name is Josh. We're talking real crime court cases tonight. Wow. Big time things going down in the world of court. So happy to see everybody. Shout out, roll call. Oh, let me get rid of this thing for you guys. Where are you guys all from tonight? How is everybody doing? How are your Christmas plans coming along? Yeah, we're not talking about murder and stuff. That's good. But we are talking about some pretty big deals tonight, some cases, things that are going on in our world. This is the type of show where we talk. We have a good conversation. We crowdsource information. A lot of people have some great things to say, can add stuff to the conversation. And that's kind of what we do here. We crowdsource real crime. We talk about what's going on in the world, how it pertains to, our lives, and how, pop culture and what goes on in politics and everything else, and how it's all connected, because it all really is interconnected. And to ignore it will be at your peril. So, just saying. Good to see where people are from. Hey, we got Pinstripes. Too bad she's a Yankees fan. We got a Texan here. We got an Arizonian. Yeah. We got a Gatineau, Quebec, from Quebec, Ottawa, right on. Everybody, great. Georgia, love it. Florida, Kansas, Washington. Wow, you guys are from all over the place. Karina, one of my favorite Australians. Vancouver Island, you love it out there. Gorgeous. Louisiana, Waukesha. Ooh, you're from Waukesha. Jeez. Where'd that Waukesha go? Waukesha. I'm going to have to turn the slow chat on, guys. Sorry about that. Let's do that real quick. So, has everybody been following kind of what's been going on in Hawaii? Well, where's Enland? Sounds nice. PEI, love it. New York. Wow, you guys are from everywhere. I love this. So great. Guelph. That's nice. You're cute. Yeah, I don't blame you, little egg. It rattled everybody to go to Quebec. Utah. Man, all over the place. You know what? We're going to do the recap of the Duggar case a little bit. I don't know a ton about it, to be honest with you, either, but I know enough to, I'm sure we could talk about it. And a lot of people probably know this in here, what's going with the case, but we're going to talk about, yeah, we'll do some stuff. Absolutely. First, I want to kind of get into the Jussie Smollett case, because I have been following this more than the other cases. The Duggar case is important, obviously, and so is the Smollett. These are two different, completely opposite cases in the world. But I think what we're seeing, a lot of people would, Ghislaine Maxwell, not going to cover that tonight. We will do it when we have a big update on it. No, I'm not surprised he's going to jail for a very long time, and he should. So let's get into Jussie Smollett first, because it's kind of a lighter case. I know it's not light as in it's lighter than the Duggar case. But if you don't know what happened with Jussie Smollett, he claimed to have been a victim of a hate crime. He said he was attacked by two MAGA Trump supporters. He initially said that they were white guys, and then he changed it to just people. And he said they threw a noose around his neck, they punched him, and he called the police when he got back to his apartment, and this whole thing exploded. And things like this happened, okay? So let's see if I can get this up for you. Things like this went down. People were saying things like, and there's going to be a lot here, but just this. When that went down, the whole world exploded with stuff like this.
Media that's barely talking about it. We have a media that's saying it's a debate whether or not what just happened to Jussie Smollett is a hate crime. It's absurd.
Is it?
This isn't a debate.
It's not a debate, she says.
I agree.
And then he agrees. Well, that's good. Well, let me tell you, it is a debate, and it was a debate. And the problem is, with people like you and the whole media and we talked about this with the Waukesha thing and everything was going down, right? Your whole country, for some reason, and my country, we're very much the same. For some reason, the left is absolutely pining for a race war. But why? To what end? The left in my country too, the liberals in my country also. Everything has to come down to race. Why is everybody pining for a race war? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. But this happened. Kamala Harris tweeted out to her support for him. So many people tweeted out their support and came out blue check mark in droves about how this is a lynching, this is systemic racism right down to the thing. The reason the Jussie Smollett case is really important, okay, is because he faked it. There's such a lack of what they're talking about, okay, that they need to fake it. There has been so many faked hate crimes because there is not enough. Okay? The need outstrips the want. So they just create it. In the Jussie Smollett case, he absolutely profited off it. That's for one, too, because he wanted to become, you know, I don't know if he was trying to raise his star. I don't know, but he did. And he was connected to the Obamas, or the Barack Obama and his wife. People were coming out in droves in support of this guy. Everybody, it was just like, it didn't matter that there was no proof for any of it. It didn't matter. It was just because we're going to believe it because we have to, because the media wants us to believe it. When it comes to Waukesha, hands up if you've heard anything from your major media about Waukesha. Okay, right, recently. That is one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen in my life. But the left will still tell you today that the January 6th insurrection attempt at the Capitol was worse than 9/11 and everything else. It's all out of skew, it's all out of whack, and everything is racist. Everything is racist. Everything. The roads are racist. Everything's racist. And so I think what you're seeing now is a bunch of people waking up to this, right? You're seeing a bunch of people start saying, all right, we're done with it. Let's let the adults take over now. Let's have the adults in the conversation, and let's get back to being people who are people instead of tagging us for our race, for what we come from, our everything else. It's let's get back to just the basics. And I mean, it's not there yet, but this case is a big deal. Both cases, I've had multiple people say to me, I'm surprised at the outcome of this case. Now, are you surprised at the outcome of this case? I'm not surprised that Jussie Smollett was guilty. Like, if you guys were following this case and I was following it to a degree, like they basically admitted everything. There was no defense. Okay, he paid these guys lots of money. He was having sexual relationships with one of them, I do believe. They rehearsed it on. There's cameras rehearsing it. His flight was delayed from New York. He literally flew in from New York to Chicago to fake a hate crime. And he was texting them saying, my flight's delayed, and he was talking about them. He's absolutely guilty. But and to be found guilty is the right thing. Okay? Absolutely. What he did was crazy. Because in the end, think about this for a second. If you incite a race riot or a war, okay, for something that never happened, and people die, and cities burn, and things like that happen, what should you be held accountable to that? I'm just reading your comments. He will get probation. Yeah, I agree with you, Marianne. He's not going to go to jail. Again, you guys, and Canada is very similar. You have a two-tiered justice system, one for the rich, one for the poor. Not black and white. One for the rich, one for the poor. Jussie Smollett is a famous actor. I've never seen anything he's in, and I will not ever watch anything he's in. I just don't understand the draw. In the end, you know what pissed me off with this case is that we won't ever get the answer to why would you do this if it's for fame? Because people like Colin Kaepernick, and you got who's the lady that's no longer part of BLM, but she was BLM, and then she bought all these properties in white rich neighborhoods and all that stuff, and they're just grifters, okay? Being a grifter for race hustling is very, very, very lucrative. Both sides, okay? So Gina, I don't think they're going to make an example out of him. I think the guilty verdict, they're going to say, well, he's guilty, but there's not going to be any consequences. So what's going to happen is that, yeah, he's guilty of the thing, but there won't be consequences, so it won't really matter in the end. Because I hope that they do make an example of him, absolutely. I think they are not misdemeanors. I think they are felonies. I think it's felonies. There's been some back and forthing about whether or not it's a misdemeanor or a felony. Well, he's not going to tell. He's still telling people it wasn't a lie, and he's guilty now. So that's the end of that. Yeah, because he's famous and rich, he's going to have a different thing. So the problem here is that you guys have to be a little bit scared here. Everybody's got to be a little bit scared here. That they are literally trying to incite race wars by creating fake, very, 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 very scary hate crimes. If this was a true thing that happened, that is scary. Okay? But the issue is this is not happening across the board, and they have to make it up. There has been so many that have happened, fake hate crime. Even LeBron James, who will not prove his hate crime. Something was spray painted on his gate side, didn't prove it. No, there's no video, nothing. They erased it before everybody got there. They're creating hate crimes to what end? For fame. Could you imagine wanting to have a hate crime against you so it makes you more famous? What? And then you've got actors like this saying there's no debate. There's no debate. No debate. This is it. This is what happened. Why are you debating? If you debate, it's white supremacy. That's the other danger, is to just debate it and say, well, let's take a look at hold on a second. Hold on, before we jump to the conclusion that this is one of the biggest hate crimes of the century, can we take a look at the data for a second? Nope, because now you're a white supremacist. And that's the problem, right? You guys should be scared that they are making this stuff up and that the media will just go along with it until they can no longer go along with it. Same thing happened with Waukesha. Same thing happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. Same thing happened with a whole ton of other people, is that the media goes with it until they can no longer go with it. Right? Until they're just proven wrong. And it's happening time and again. Okay? It's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Race war is destroying both of our countries, yours and mine. No, Margaret, I don't think that he's going to come out on top of this as far as getting jobs. I don't see it. He's tainted, thank God, and he should be. Right? Because this is... I even think, and I'm surprised that Black Lives Matter and people who stand up for that, for whatever you want to believe about that stuff, I'm surprised they don't come out and say, hey, we denounce this, because that would make you look better. You can say, look, that was fake. We denounce it. We believed him at the beginning because we believe victims, and I get that. You could say that. You could save face by saying we believed him because that's what we do. We believe victims, and that makes sense, right? But now you can say, hey, look, based on the evidence we've seen now, we denounce Jussie Smollett and this thing that he did. And now we're going to move forward from this by denouncing it and saying, no, we're not connected to that, and then just move on. But they won't do that. They'll go silent on it. They'll go silent on all these martyrs that they've created, right? The martyrs that they're creating, if you guys know these martyrs, like there's the Potter case right now where she shot him instead of tasered him. That guy that ran away that got shot and killed, that guy shot somebody in the head, okay? He was an assaulter. He sexually assaulted a woman too. He did a bunch of stuff, and these are the martyrs. They will keep their mouth shut when the person is doing crime, but when they are killed because of whatever they did, now they're a martyr. You guys, everybody says we don't talk about it enough because you guys are gonna label me white supremacist. I don't give a shit what you label me. I don't really care, okay? Because you don't know me. But you got to be scared for what's happening in your world. And we all should be. The Smollett case is a glimmer of hope, though. A glimmer of hope that people are starting to recognize it. And I hope he spends time in jail. I hope he spends a lot of time in jail. So, yeah, they need to pick better martyrs. Everybody needs to pick better martyrs. That's just it. So, Jussie Smollett, I'm just going through Twitter. If you go through what's, he's obviously trending. There are so many people that say that this is like, that this isn't, the justice hasn't prevailed. It's crazy. He knew Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama stepped in. There's a lot of people that are going to be connected to this. But you know what pisses me off a lot the most about all this? Is that as soon as this guy, now that he's guilty and it's settled in the court, boom, 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 boom. All those people who stood up for him, you can call them out now and say, hey, what do you think of this? And they will just ignore you now. They'll just ignore you. Don't care. They don't care. You guys should be pissed because they don't care. Because they don't care. And now they're just saying, well, that's the next one. Let's go to the next one. So, just be watchful, guys. And now, if anything that this is going to do, it's going to set BLM back 10 steps. And it's going to set everybody that comes forward now with a crime, a real one or a fake one, whatever the case may be. It's now going to be looked at like through the like magnifying glass tenfold, right? And it probably should be. But at the same time, this sets back true victims. True victims that will have things happen to them. It will set that back. Somebody who, this is the most selfish thing that Jussie could have done. It is so selfish because it didn't happen to him. He had to create and manufacture it, okay? And so now real victims are going to be doubted. If you guys don't understand, you know, the hashtag Me Too movement, everything else, and believe victims and all this kind of stuff, and racism and all that, it sets it back. It makes it worse. And everybody's silent on it. Yeah, it's the worst part. True victims won't be believed. And it pisses me off. And you know what pisses me off is that he's likely not going to, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. Maybe. Maybe. I want to point this out too. Because this is why it's such a crazy, dangerous place to be in right now. Kamala Harris tweets this. Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. Loud cackle. I'm praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. The reason why this is dangerous is because your vice president tweets that. Okay? She has an enormous voice. She has enormous power. And it's all based on a lie. And they are silent about it. They're like, you know what? I got that wrong. My bad. Let's move forward. They will not say a word on it. They won't say anything. And that is crazy. The silence is deafening. Kamala Harris is the worst thing that ever happened to politics. And I'm saying worse than Trump. And that's a big thing. Kamala Harris is the embodiment of why you don't just hire someone based on their sex or their skin color. That's why you don't do that. If you ever wanted to, to look at that. So I'm pissed because these people all did these things. They all said these things in support. They all came out and said all this stuff. And now they are dead silent when they're wrong. If you can't have any humility when you're wrong, and I'm not saying, a lot of us can't, and it's really hard. But as these major leaders, if they just had a touch of humility, they likely would be more popular, because people who have humility generally are more liked by people because they can be wrong. And then they can say, guys, I got that one wrong. I believed him because, because he said it and I believed him. I get that. And I'm not going to blame you for believing him. But when it turns out to be fake and manufactured, and then he paid these people, and then it was like super, super chachi to do all these things, and then you go silent on it, that's what makes you a hypocrite. So, yeah, it's time for some apologies all around. All around. In all fairness, everyone wants to assume people are generally good. Perhaps they will take a beat before making a statement. And that sucks, Basic Mom. Because wouldn't it be better to assume people were good? I'd still like that. I agree. But you can't assume anybody's good when you get something wrong and you don't tell people that you're sorry. Yeah. So moving on from the Jussie Smollett thing, justice was created. Now we'll see what justice is going to be, really, when it comes down to it, to see what he gets as far as, holy Josh Duggar, here we go. As far as what his sentence is going to be. And I bet you it's going to be nothing. He didn't serve any time in jail, so he can't do time served. So he needs to go to jail. I don't care. He needs to go to jail. There needs to be a precedent set here that if you're going to attempt this again, think twice. Because a race war is nothing to scoff at. It's not something small. Your country is on the brink of civil war. And you guys all know this. Okay? And doing these things exacerbates that, or whatever you want to call it, and makes it worse. And then people don't apologize. So you bring everything to the brink by tweeting that and saying all those things, and then when you don't say anything, you don't bring anybody back from the brink. It's the next thing's going to push people over. Was he on house arrest? I don't know if he was on house arrest, Margaret. He could have been. Al, you're right. The average person is going to go to jail for this, right? But just because he has expensive lawyers, right? He's still guilty. So why do people assume, and they're probably right to assume it, that his sentencing is going to be lenient? He's guilty of the crime. So why is this sentence going to be lenient when another person who smoked weed or stole something, 20 years ago, is still in jail for it? Why? I think you guys are right that I think his sentence is going to be lenient. But why is just because he's rich does he get a lenient sentence? It doesn't make sense to me. So, I agree. He should be in jail for a long time, but we all know it's not. But let's move on to somebody who's definitely going to end up in jail. And hopefully for a very, very, very long time. Okay? This asshat is guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. And we all knew it. Guilty. And I was surprised a lot of people were tweeting that they didn't think he was going to get it. Because Jim Bob walked into court today with a stupid fundy grin on his face. No, I'm not a big fan of Trump. I like DeSantis, and I like, what's his name? Chan. All right. Duggar needs to go to jail for the rest of his life. If you guys were watching this case, and I've been on the fringes of this case, just hearing it. Man, I'm trying not to get into these cases as much because it's really, really draining on you specifically when it comes to the child stuff, guys. It is so dangerous to put this in your brain a lot. Okay? A lot. 19 and minutes counting. Oh yeah, he's gonna rot in jail. So his dad's running for something. I'm pretty sure his dad's out of the race now because his son is now convicted child bad person. Sorry, DeSantis. No, he's not Trump. The Duggar case is sad for the kids. Well, the kids maybe will get some justice now because the kids hurt too as well. The Duggars are not Mormon. They are quiverful, I think, which is just another fundy, disgusting religion. He's not facing 40 years. What's he facing, Leah? I agree with you on this, Kaylin. Life sentences, and they should be castrated. 100%. Max is 20 years. For what he did, it's 20 years. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Duggar went to jail for the first time today. Cheers, Duggar. Thing is, it's his first offense he's guilty of. But we know he's been doing it since he was a child. The Duggars are not polygamists. No, they're not. No, they're just a culty Christians. Yeah, I hope so. And I don't know. Again, I don't know a ton about this. I do know that his wife has stuck by him, right? Which is, why would you do that? Who sticks by a guy who does what he did? It's just crazy. So if anybody wants to chime in about what they know about this case, people who know more than me, I'm happy to display it. We'll talk about it. But there's someone who pointed out to me, I want to just point this out as well to you guys. Let me get it up for you a second here. Where is it? So my friend Claire, she does a lot on child safety and stuff like that. She shared this article with me, and so we're going to try to educate you guys a little bit on this, okay? So I want to read this article to you. It's not child P anymore, guys, and I'm just trying to, and this was very, very interesting to me, okay? We're not going to call it child P. Stop calling it. It's called child S abuse material. Okay, so it's material of kids being abused and filmed for the enjoyment of Plutos. Okay, child rescue coalition, we believe the use of language is important when protecting children. For publications and content which we control, we choose to use language which more accurately reflects the suffering of children we strive to protect. While we recognize that child P is unfortunately still a legal definition and is used in charging perpetrators in the U.S., there are numerous international agreements and guidelines which recognize this terminology at best is inaccurate. The children do not choose to be engaged in this horrific treatment, nor do they deserve to have it filmed, distributed, and watched over and over again by sick perpetrators. This becomes the single worst moment of their lives, and they are forever traumatized. We believe evidence of their S abuse is not P. It is child abuse material. CSAM. Okay? I want you guys to remember that. It's abuse material. Okay? Yeah, his wife has been indoctrinated into a funded culture. Her eyes are not going to be opened. She's not going to. She's in. That's it. He's facing the 20 years with the option of adding 5 extra years because of the ages of the children. Prosecutors said he can only be sentenced to the greater charge. Okay. Minimum of 5 years, max of 20, and likely he won't survive prison. Okay? And he's going to go meet his maker. And the maker is going to say, "Depart from me, I never knew you." And then he's going to spend the rest of eternity in hell, if you believe in that stuff. Okay? Because I know that they believe in that. And he's going to spend the rest of eternity in hell for what he did to children. Okay? Yep, it's CSAM. That's what it is. So here it is, Deb Lyles. He watched a 3-month-old being harmed. So there was harming material, right? There was harming abuse material of a 3-month-old. The issue, if you think about this fundamentally, okay, is that humans, since inception of human beings, okay, this has always been wrong. And the idea that you want to watch a 3-month-old be harmed, again, you should not be allowed to be in public ever again. And you should be castrated if so. And you should be ostracized and put to the fringes of our society. You should literally go live in the Antarctic. Is the only place that they should be allowed to live. Okay? They should not allowed to be in our midst anymore. Because our children are the ones we're supposed to protect the most. They are the most in need of our protections. Okay, so I talk a lot about on my channel about child exploitation and family vloggers and everything else. Yeah, I make fun of people. Yeah, I do it with some humor and everything. But it all comes back to the one main point, okay? That exploitation is wrong. And if that means I have to call people out in a funny way or in a really snarky way to bring attention to that, I'm going to keep doing it, okay? But the children in our society, and everybody can agree on this, everybody can agree, are the ones that need to be protected the most. And so when someone like him does something like this, and that the fact that this shit even exists, that people create it and film it, okay? The fact that it exists is the scariest thing in the world. And that it exists on a very, very high and dark level. It's not just one-offs. There's millions and millions of bits of this material on the internet. And with the technology that we have, the fact that they haven't caught more people doing this is on purpose, in my opinion. Oh, he's not going to last jail. They're going to have to he's either going to be in solitary confinement and he's going to go crazy, which he deserves, or he's going to be killed in jail. So there's also images of 5 to 7-year-olds. I hope they offer the jury some kind of counseling. The jury does have to see this stuff, everybody. I've done a court case once where I was doing media for it. 'Cause in Canada, you have to have French translators, so I was doing all that kind of stuff and setting up the video and doing AV for this case. And I had to see a dead body, and I've never seen a real dead body before, and I'll never forget it. I have a short memory, so I can get over that stuff, but there are people that are going to see things, especially for these court cases, that they can never unsee for the rest of their lives. He paid $10,000 and could have shared the content. They're obligated to kind of. I don't know what you mean there, Aubrey. I think Anna's complicit to the degree that she is stuck by him. I don't think that she knew. Or she knew and didn't want to know. Does that make sense? Like, she sort of probably understood what was going on, but didn't investigate, didn't ask questions, didn't say anything, or didn't look. I don't think that she's to blame, but she's complicit. Thanks, Kate. The man who filmed it is in prison for life. Thank God. One child died. The baby survived. No, I'm not. Please, guys, don't ever look this stuff up. And I can't believe it's still on the internet. Don't ever look this stuff up. 1, because don't put that in your brain. 2, because you basically allowing that to have ripple effects, and it should be unseen forever. Don't ever look this stuff up. I will never look it up. I will never, ever look it up. You know what boggles the mind, Maeve, is that the entire family makes you sick. If the parents, family members, and wife haven't kept their heads in the sand, countless victims could have been saved. Yes. And they continue to stand by this guy. Again, we've talked about this a lot. When it comes to a kid doing something, your child, and we've talked about this a lot when it came to Brian Laundrie, okay? You don't stand by your kid when they do these things. You can love your kid because that's inherent in blood, thicker than water, blah, 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 family, all that stuff. But you don't stand by them. At this point, they have to be accountable for what they have done, and then that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts past that. You do not stand by them when they've done this. If I had a child, an adult child, and they were caught doing this, that I literally would disown them. I would never speak to them again. I just wouldn't. I would not stand by them. I would forget them. They would cease to exist in my heart. This is the one thing that there's just no standing by them for. When it comes to hurting children, getting off on children getting hurt, or being a Pluto, you no longer exist to me in any capacity. And that's the way that the society should work against these people. Okay? They should have gotten him help when he was 12. What the issue is that the problem with that, when it comes to fundamental Christianity, is the help that they receive is not the help that they need. The help they receive is likely prayer, accountability partners. Churches don't know how to deal with this. They bury it because they don't want it in their midst. So they'll try whatever they can to bury it or suppress it, and it doesn't work. Churches are the worst at counseling. Let's be real, okay? They are not good for counseling in real-world situations. Maybe counseling marriages, possibly if you traditional, fundamental style of that. But when it comes to this type of stuff, churches cannot help, okay? They send kids to conversion therapy. That doesn't help. Okay, conversion and doing this stuff, when it comes to the monstrous things that people have done, the church can do shit all, because the church is inherently, we're supposed to forgive. We're supposed to have grace. And they counsel from that perspective. But I'm sorry, and I know this is definitely against what Jesus preaches. I don't believe that there should be forgiveness for this type of behavior at all. I know that there is. Inherently, I understand that the worst of the worst of the worst are still covered under God's grace, okay? But at the same time, I can't believe that here. And there shouldn't be on earth, okay? Consequences are different here. So that's the Josh Duggar thing. Again, this guy deserves nothing but the worst that society can give him. Yes, I've heard of the term MAP. And yeah, I use it because YouTube allows us to say that when we're trying to say that, but I agree with you. They're trying to make it sound like it's something it isn't. And I will say this, and there's people, and you know what's giving me a little bit more hope too? Is there are people out there who are trying to advocate for this, and they're getting canceled for it. There's teachers advocating for this, and they're getting canceled and fired. Love it. There are people advocating for kids becoming less innocent or like whatever, and they're being canceled for it. There is still hope. I think when it comes to children, okay, when it comes to the protection of children, you're going to have the loudest people stand up who have been maybe silent on a lot of political issues, a lot of societal issues, but they will not be silent on this. And that is a really, really hopeful sign that we're not completely lost as a human culture and human beings, is that we will still stand up for this. But the problem is that the highest echelons of power, when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell and all these people, okay, is that they're not being held accountable at all either. They're not. And it's really sad, because the highest echelons of power, again, are the ones who are getting away with this. Yeah, we call them Plutos here, because that's just our term for it. We can get away with it, which is a pedo. Well, we talk about Plutos and symbols and predator playlists. In tomorrow's video on the Weiss Life, you'll see for Snarkmas is one of those grossest families where I discovered Pluto playlists. Okay, where YouTube took comments away from family channels because Plutos were time stamping inappropriate moments inside the videos. Okay. And YouTube did it to mitigate the ad apocalypse that happened. Okay. And now YouTube just gave back the comments. So even the highest levels of power, they just kind of bury it until it goes away. And then they return everything as was. When, if anything, Plutos and these predators are just getting more tech savvy to begin with anyway. So, yeah, the Larry Nassar case, you want to get angry? Go watch Athlete A, okay? Larry Nassar and the whole peripheral of all of those people all need to be in jail. And Larry Nassar was just obviously the perpetrator, but everybody else covered it up. And there is no justice there either. Why did Josh's parents defend him and not stand up for the daughters? Because they're fundamental, quiverful Christians, meaning that they're like, well, God will want us to forgive you. And that's like, in the end, there's a fly. In the end, that's what they're going to go on because he's political. Jim Bob is running for office. He needs to, I don't know why he would stand up for us. It's crazy. YouTube gave comments back to family vloggers. Yes, they did. Yeah, his sisters learned what they did. And you know, the thing is, they probably suppressed that. The human mind is capable of suppressing some of the most craziest, disgusting trauma that's happened to our body. I sometimes will remember something in my past trauma that for some reason, a smell or some kind of light or whatever, or movie or some kind of thing happens. It will trigger a moment in a memory that I've never thought about in like 35 years since it happened when I was young. The mind is so powerful in suppressing trauma because it needs to, because otherwise it'll send, like, we're very adaptable humans. But at the point when these things happen to these girls, that was normal for them growing up. And so when they realize it wasn't normal, that's when the trauma clicks. Does that make sense? So the fact that they had to relive the nightmares is crazy. Well, Aubrey, can you give me the Duggar statement? What did they say? Yeah, keeping it, Michelle. This happens to a lot of people. This happened to me. I didn't realize something that happened to me was an actual SA. One memory and boom, it clicked. I agree with you. And a lot of people don't realize. I did a video on that on TikTok about the idea of soaking and how it's spiritual sexual assault. Okay? Some people don't realize that this has happened to them until you realize someday you're like, that wasn't normal. That wasn't right. That happened to me as well. And my mind suppressed that because of the amount of trauma I dealt with as a child. And it's all coming out now as I get older and realizing disassociation. Everybody has to be good at it, specifically if you grew up in a childhood full of trauma. People who grow up with broken homes and trauma and abuse are really good at disassociating, but it affects them as humans as they get older in relationships and everything else. I hope Anna and the kids get their help. I hope they just get away. They just need to go. They need to get out of there and never come back. But again, they're in a fundamental religious sect that doesn't allow them to work, to have money, anything. So where's she going to go? What is she going to do? She has nothing. It's all tied to Quiverful and to the Duggars. Friggin', hear me out, guys. We talk a lot about the exploitation of children in the media. 19 Kids and Counting? What good came from 19 Kids and Counting? You guys tell me. The popularity of that show and everything they did, what good eventually came out of that? What happened? This is the result of this. What's happening with Josh Duggar is the result of pushing your kids and everything into the spotlight, into using them for money, into exploiting them without their consent for the rest of their lives. Those daughters' story is out there for the world to see because the Duggars are famous. If this just happened, to non-famous people, of course it's still terrible. But the whole world wouldn't know. Now the whole world knows their trauma. And they had no choice but to tell the entire world their trauma because of the parents forcing their kids to be in this famous show. But what good came from 19 Kids and Counting? Nothing. Nothing good. Her and her sleeping bag vagina crapped out 20 kids or whatever. And nothing good came from it. Nothing. All they did was traumatize a bunch of smaller kids. And then comes out to the end where this guy's going to spend the rest of his life in jail, likely going to get killed in prison. That's what came out of 19 Kids and Counting. If this isn't a lesson in like, well, let's look at the data. This is the data. Okay, we're looking at the data in real time about what happens to these kids in these situations. Okay? He was a pervert because he grew up in a fundamental sect of Christianity that suppresses now normal sexual desires, masturbation and everything else. They were suppressed because they think it's dirty and wrong. Okay? And then they're brought into this world of fame, and their whole worlds are shared with everybody. Think about this for a second. We're seeing the outcome every single time. And there's not one that has happened specifically from TLC where someone has been traumatized to some degree. What's the one with the Karen haircut where she had 8 kids? I forget what it was. And then Little People, Big World. The son, Jacob, was essayed by one of the producers. There's not been one show where they've come out on the other side and they've been normal. Not one. Not one where someone hasn't come out traumatized or had the world or been essayed or whatever the case may be. Not one. And we're sitting here watching and letting things happen like Ace Family, Jess Fam, Our Life, Weiss Life, everybody. We're sitting here watching this for free while these kids have zero protections legally from Hollywood, legally for their own lives. And a lot of them are being abused like this and we don't even see it. Johnny K plus 8, that's it, thanks. Okay? Think about this for a second. We're all wondering what's the outcome of this phenomenon of watching families on TV. We already see it, everybody. We already see it. It's right in front of our eyes. It's this guy going to jail for the rest of his life because he hurt his sisters. He abused them and then watched abuse material of kids getting hurt. And probably some things that we don't know he's seen. He's probably seen worse. All to what? All to jerk off. To the depths somebody will go. Okay? The depths that these sickos will go. Because they are groomed and put into this world where their whole life is a lie and it's fake. So, sorry for preaching, but that's why I do what I do right here, everybody. And people were like, "Oh, the message is lost because you make fun of people and their ugly thumbs." Okay. I don't care. Guys, in the end, and I will continue to repeat this over and over again. I snark to bring awareness because this is what we're bringing awareness to. We don't need any more proof, everybody. And again, I'll say it one more time. Why are we waiting until someone gets hurt, essayed, kidnapped, killed, or otherwise? Because it's already happened. Josh Duggar already did it. We don't have to wait. It's already done. Oh, this Jim Bob and Michelle statement. Let's read it together, shall we? This ought to be good. Dumbasses. All right, so this is on their website, DuggarFamily.com. The Duggar family, before I read this statement, if you're watching, and you're probably not, I don't give a shit. Jesus loves you, and he has forgiveness for you. Okay? And you need to take that shit seriously, because you are evil. You are evil incarnate. You are a wolf in sheep's clothing. You are what's wrong. Okay, even though Jesus still loves you, yeah. But what you are doing is wrong. What you've done is steered so many millions of people away from the truth of who Jesus really is, okay? And the Duggards, heed it. Heed this. Because you're all going to end up burning in hell for eternity, because I know you believe it. I don't know if I believe it, but I know you believe it. And the fact that you will allow this to say, and then you still stand on your faith like it's something to be proud of, you've just diminished Jesus' message 100-fold because of the evils that you've committed on your channel. Okay, so you know what, Duggars? Suck my butthole. All right, let's move on. Statement from Jim Bob. First of all, his name is Jim Bob, and I hate that, and he's a douche. So this is from today, right? A statement regarding Josh Show. The entire ordeal has been very grievous. Today, God's grace, through the love and prayers of so many, has sustained us. You guys want to see me get preaching? Well, it's about to start. Our hearts and prayers are with anyone who has ever been harmed through and at least they said CSAM. At least they did. I wonder if they're trying to make it, I don't know why they would say that, actually. I'm kind of like, perplexed. So, our hearts and prayers, anyone who has ever been harmed. Okay. I'm sure it has. In the days ahead, we will do all we can to surround our daughter-in-law, Anna, and their children with love and support. As parents, we will never stop praying for Josh and loving him. Nah, he doesn't deserve anybody's love. He only deserves vitriol and hate because that is what he has created in his life. The choices he has made has only led him to being an outcast, and that's just the way he is. He is a modern-day leper and is, in that way, only forgivable by Jesus. Only. Okay? And that's up to him to figure that out, not you. He is a modern-day leper and should be cast to the gates. Okay? In the days ahead, we will do all we can to surround her, blah, blah, blah. In each of life's circumstances, we place our trust in God. Do you? Okay. He is our source of strength and blah, blah, blah. That's a shitty statement. I'm sorry, it's garbage. Again, just deflecting by saying, oh, we're Christian, makes it worse. And you guys, they for some reason don't realize it. I don't know why they think they don't realize this. It makes it worse. To still stand on your faith to say, well, our faith covers us. Well, where was it when he was doing this? When he was watching kids in abuse material? Where was it then? When he was hurting your other daughters and you did nothing about it. You just sent him to work for somebody. Where was it then? Because your daughters are second. In your religion, women are second to everything else, to men. And this is why religion needs to be completely shut down, okay? Because your daughters didn't get the justice that they deserved, and they had to live with their abuser for most of their life. And you did nothing about it. You should be in jail, Jim Bob. You are complicit, not should. You are complicit. You should be in prison. The fact that you're running for political office is insane. I don't even care if you're running against a potato. I'm voting for the potato. Nobody vote for Jim Bob Duggar. Jim Bob has more skeletons in his closet than you guys know. Quiverful and any fundy religion is full of predators. Do you know why it's full of predators? Do you know why it attracts predators? Because it's a patriarchal society. Mormons, Quiverful, Christians, Catholics. It's patriarchal based on the fact that men are over women at all times and can be held to a lesser standard because they are closer to God. Quotes. Okay? And so this is why they're allowed to get away with what they get away with. Churches will cover for men. They will do it, and they have. And there's proof. Proof here alone. Well, he's complicit in the fact that they didn't just send this guy to a military camp for the rest of his life, which they should have done. When they found out what he did early in life, he should never have been allowed back into this home. I'm sorry, guys. I don't care. And if this is more proof you want for crazy pieces and crazy meals, all these families with multiple 10s, 15, 20 kids, is that you can't properly parent your kids if you have that many kids. I don't care what you guys say. It's impossible because you don't know that this is happening because you have predators in your midst because you're raising them this way. And every large family, generally, 98% of large families are based around fundamental Christian religions. 98% of large families are tied to a fundamental religion of some kind. I'm a little bit spicy tonight. Sorry. Vote potato every time, everybody. The kids raise the kids. Large families, to a degree. I'm not saying every single one. And I know you guys, it's a blanket statement. It's for the most part. Large families cannot thrive. You cannot raise tons of kids properly. It's hard to raise 3 kids, 4 kids properly. Okay? It's really hard. How are you going to raise 20 kids in a fundamental religion? Why are so many Plutos driven to fundamental religions? Catholicism, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Christianity. Why are they so driven to it? What is the draw? Because they're protected. Because they've misconstrued the Bible and grace and forgiveness to normalize these things and to say that's just the way it is. And it should never be. Tear the shit to the ground. Jesus would be flipping cables tearing walls. When Jesus died on the cross, you guys want to... When Jesus died on the cross, the reason the temple split was because that shit didn't matter anymore. It didn't matter anymore. And the fact that the humans built it back up as trophies to themselves is a huge effing fail. Sorry. I'm a little sweaty now, too. I'm not going to lie. Jill and Derek made a statement. Yes, I do believe Josh was a victim at one point in his life when he was young. And it probably happened when he was really young. Okay? Now, as a person who grew up in a family with this, okay, happened to me, happened to other people in my family, and growing up in very poor neighborhoods where this is rampant, yes. I don't think he learns these things without it happening to him first. Whether it's his dad or an uncle or whatever, in these fundamental Christian religions, it happened to him. He just won't say anything because it's the shame that's holding him down. I honestly believe that, because where does he get this? Where does the predatory behavior come from? It comes from his trauma. So that's what I believe. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. You don't just learn that stuff, specifically in a fundamental religion. How do you learn that unless it's been done to you? We don't know what the punishment's going to be for him yet. The sentencing is going to be coming soon. Miss Ellen says, the LDS Church has its own law firm that covers up sex crimes. Also, you need to collab with Radio Free Mormon. Yeah, oh, I know the Mormon Church will do whatever it can. The fundamental foundations of the Mormon culture and church is being shaken right now to a degree unlike anybody has ever seen. It is all coming to the front. Christianity as well. Okay, Catholicism already happened. Shit's already fell apart. But they're so rich it doesn't matter. Okay, you guys are going to see a massive shift very soon. It's already happening. The ground is crumbling beneath these man-made religions and institutions because Jesus is just done with that shit. Believe that. You heard it here. You're right. They're all worth money and they all survive to a degree. But in the end, guys, and I know you guys, a lot of you don't believe this like I believe it. And I'm, I don't even consider myself a traditional Christian anymore, just a believer. Okay? This shit's coming to an end really soon. And I'm not talking about end times. I'm talking about the reckoning, the awakening to people saying, what is this shit? This is not what Jesus wanted for the church. This is the opposite of what Jesus wanted. The literal opposite. A lot of people think Jesus loves... What does Jesus love about modern day churches? Maybe I should do a whole video about that. Nothing. It's a damn country club with smoke and mirrors. And non-disclosure agreements abound. And the spiritual abuse of people in power to those below them, to those serving, the burnout and everything else. Nothing I've ever seen in a church after I left, when I looked back and my hindsight was clear. Holy shit. Okay? I've never seen anybody do it right. It doesn't exist. I wasn't a preacher, Michelle. I was a worship pastor. I did music and skinny jeans and shit. Sent you Jill's statement in Insta. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. All their lawyers are releasing statements. Such bullshit. And they're all empty. These are all empty statements, everybody. Empty. Yeah, they're a very religious family, but they exploited all 20 kids. Yeah, they're not religious. They're religious. That's the issue. The fact that their religion is money, though. Yeah, they say they're a fundamental sect of religion and they believe in Jesus, but they don't. Because no person who honestly does believe in Jesus' message and his word would exploit their children. Nobody does it. And so all these Mormons and all these family vloggers out there that consider themselves Christian, to me, you are not Christian anymore. As soon as you exploit somebody, stop telling everybody you believe in Jesus, because it's a bullshit lie. Okay, so Jill this is Dillard family's statement on Josh Duggar verdict. Okay. Today was difficult for our family. Our hearts go to the victims of child abuse or any kind of exploitation. We are thankful for the hard work of law enforcement, including this is written by a lawyer. I hate this shit. Forensic analysis, prosecutors, and all involved who saved kids to hold accountable those responsible for their abuse. Nobody is above the law. It applies equally to everybody, no matter your wealth status. Well, that's a lie. No matter your wealth or status. Yeah, well, that's a lie too. I know this. Sorry, but that's a lie. Associations, gender, race, or any other factor, all lies. Today, the people of Western District of Arkansas made it clear that in their verdict as a Christian, we believe we are all equal at the foot of the cross, and likewise, we're all equal under the law. Jesus warned his disciples, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed. That's true. Or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, what you've said in the dark shall be heard in the light. And what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. Moreover, he who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both like an abomination to the Lord. We have been lied to so much that we wanted to hear the evidence for ourselves in court. After seeing all the evidence as it was presented, we believe that the jury reached a just verdict today, consistent with the truth beyond a reasonable doubt. Josh's actions have rippled far beyond the epicenter of the offense itself. Offenses. Children have scars, but his family is also suffering the fallout of his actions. Our hearts are sensitive to the pain Josh's wife, Anna, and their 7 children have already endured and will continue to process in the future. This trial has felt more like a funeral than anything else. Josh's family has a long road ahead. We stand with them, we are praying for them, and we will seek to support them. I can't stand behind this statement for a couple reasons, everybody. Because they don't deserve to be stood behind. The kids, yes, are all victims. The parents are the perpetrators of the exploitation. At the fundamental root of this case, of the Josh Duggar case, is exploitation of children, which is the root of my message. Okay? No, you don't stand behind them. They are to blame. They are to blame. Josh made his choices based on trauma that happened to him, probably. I don't know by who, because they haven't said, and they never will. Jill is one of his victims. And she still... I get that. But they're so... I feel like in that statement she wanted to say something different, and just lawyers lawyers are going to lawyer. That's what's going to happen here. Again, can somebody in this chat who followed the Duggards, and I never watched that shit, tell me one good thing that came from that shit? One good thing. What did anybody get from that? The only thing that came out of it that we could literally say that we know came out of it was that kids were traumatized. That's what came out of that. And it was covered up because they had money to make. You don't think TLC is complicit too? They are complicit. TLC can suck my ass. Jin Bob said on the stand he didn't remember anything happening to his daughter. He said that? So he's not only that, he's an effing liar too. Great. Imagine the thing, the most atrocious thing you could do to somebody. And then imagine being a person who says you believe in Jesus and you literally lie about it. Cool. Jill got a husband and that got her out of there. That's the only good thing I can think of. No, the issue is that that's not good. She had to escape. At the fundamental root of that is that she had to escape. That's not good. That's not something good that came out of that. She had to escape. So no, that's not good. She has trauma. All these kids have trauma. I don't know enough about the Duggards. It might be worth a deep dive. But did any of the kids, did some of them leave and never come back and say, I don't want to be a part of this anymore? I don't know. I hope so. In the beginning of the first featured show, it was neat to see another big family, but once they became an official show, it's all written. Again, guys, if you watch family vloggers on YouTube, it's the exact thing. But the only difference is that those kids are literally being taken advantage of, and there is no protections for them from Hollywood. They're overworked, likely underpaid, and coerced. And there is no protections for them. So please, if you're watching the show, don't watch family vlogging. Do not reward them by watching it. Jill left. Okay. The only good thing is the daughters are all branching out and becoming their own person, realizing they can do everything else, can wear pants. Again, that's not a... Guys, you guys are not seeing the root cause of this. Is that they leave and they realize they can wear pants? That is not a good thing that came from the show. That's not something good. The issue is that nothing good came. And the fact that they have to escape and like, I can wear pants now. That is not a good thing. Because that's scary. We shouldn't be celebrating. That's not something to celebrate. Who are the Duggars? Kayla. You in the wrong chat, girl. The one sister's still stuck there. Do they still have a TV show? I hope not. Jim Bob never paid his kids? Are you serious? Jim Bob needs a swift kick in the nuts. Maybe he needed a swift kick in the nuts after the 5th kid. Maybe they needed to get a Netflix subscription. Chill. It's like throwing a hot dog down a freaking bowling alley. I don't know if I have the friggin' heart to do a deep dive. I don't want to, I already hate family vloggers to like a degree that's unhuman. I can't imagine going down this. Why don't they sue their family? Because they're Christian, right? You can't sue them. Fundamental religions need to be, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. They need to be federally mandated. They need to be like turned into like, I don't know, targeted hate crime people. I don't know how to say it, but they need to be a thing of the past. And here's the thing about nonprofit organizations that are fundamental religions. They're tax exempt. So not only that, they enjoy tax exempt status and land and everything else. He's running for state office, and I hope he gets demolished. I hope he gets demolished. Hope he doesn't get one damn vote. Hope it's just the quiverful crackheads that vote for him. Because those people can, like, quiverful. Maybe I'm going to do a deep dive into quiverful. That's probably what I should do. Because I understand theology. You know, as a person who was a pastor in ministry, understood Christianity. Maybe I should just dismantle quiverful. Let's do that. Janet can finally come out of the closet. I don't know who that is. You guys, it's funny because you guys know way more about the Duggars than I do. Well, no, Khalid, it's not, it's what happens when you raise your kids too much, they rebel. No, what you're saying is that you raise them sheltered. And then when they get a taste of something they've never had, they fly off the handle. You're right. There's, to a degree, yes. But what they've done is exploited their kids their entire lives. These kids were working night and day for most of their lives, not only raising their younger siblings, but then having to be on a TV show. If you vote for Jim Bob Duggar, suck it. I don't care if the other person wants to bring communism to your town. I don't care. Don't vote for Jim Bob. Vote for anybody but Jim Bob. A pretzel, whatever, a piece of dog shit. Vote for anybody other than the Duggars. Why would you want to give this guy power? What is wrong with you people? Who wants to give this guy power? He had power. Look what he did with it. Jill had to assume to get paid. I hope she got paid. I hope she did. Who's running? Melissa, who's running against Jim Bob? Let's get that guy famous. Again, this case is going to, I hope, dismantle his whole political career. I hope so. He's scared of Jim Bob Duggar? For what? What are you scared of? Is he going to run you over with his van? Who's scared of this asshole? Scared of Jim Bob. For what? He's a freaking fundy. Why are people scared of this guy? Guy has the weakest pullout game in the world. Jim Bob's in the primary against 2 other Republicans. Let's get those other Republicans. Let's do this. I mean, they're probably smart enough now to use this against him, and they should. It's a real crime. Subscribe. Everybody subscribe. Do not get this guy in power. Do not. Yeah, of course. Jim Bob, this is what Mormons do. This is what fundamental. He's not a prophet. The only thing he's a prophet of is being an asshole. He's the asshole prophet. Prophesy over that. He didn't see this one coming, did he? Good prophet. Smash the like button. Everybody get this message out there. Subscribe if you so choose. Guys, when I get into preach mode about the shit that the church has done, I get really passionate, and I'm not trying to make blanket statements because I don't think that all of it's bad, but I do believe that fundamental sects of anything, religion, politics, anything, any fundamental belief in something is inherently really, really dangerous because it doesn't leave room for humility or understanding or movement at all. It doesn't leave room to be wrong. It doesn't leave room to be corrected. And that's why fundamental sects of anything needs to be dismantled. If you are fundamental on any issue in your life, okay, you're doing it wrong. You can never stop learning. And if you are a person that thinks that you know all the answers, you're fundamental in your beliefs about something, unless you're like a freaking super pro at it, you're wrong generally sometimes. And you have to be able to say, I'm wrong. I hope he's balling this. I hope he right now, hope he's got roaches crawling up his ass right now. He knows he's in jail for the majority of, at least now we know that Josh's kids are safe. And a lot of people believe that he probably did something to his kids because what's the natural progression from what he was ingesting to what he's doing? He already did it to his sisters. He has 7 kids. They think that because Josh asked forgiveness, he is saved, regardless of the trauma he did to their own daughters or others. Again, religion, like the truth is, Eliza, it's true. If Hitler, before he shot himself in the head, said and had an honest conversion and literally said, what he needed to say to get, he would be forgiven for what he did. Right? He would be, that's the truth is yes, but I don't believe that this guy is sorry for what he did. Sorry for getting caught. You guys, I've said this before. I've talked about this before. You have to go back to the thief on the cross. I will preach and then we'll be done with this, okay? The thief on the cross is a perfect example of this, and this is what they believe, and this is true. But the issue is that they use this to cover up this, and it's not right. Okay? But the thief on the cross is a perfect example of how this is supposed to work. Okay? So there's one guy on his left, one guy on his right, and the one guy on his left said, can you forgive me? And the other guy's like, why would you believe this guy's a murderer and all this kind of stuff? These guys are the worst criminals in the world. They're being crucified on the cross next to Jesus, okay? Their hands are nailed to wood. Left and right of Jesus. Jesus is there, the most innocent of everybody. And the one guy hates Jesus. And the other guy says, I'm sorry for what I did. Remember me. Right? He says that to Jesus. And Jesus says, I'll tell you right now, man, because in your heart you do believe what you just said. I'll see you in heaven. Peace. That's what happened. Okay? And that guy was a murderer, probably did crazy things because he was for what he did. And that's the issue. But the problem here is they use that now as an excuse to be like, well, it covers it all. But on earth, it doesn't. He's hanging on the cross right now. And he deserves to do that, like the thief did. So in the end, we're not going to know. And maybe he will. Maybe in his heart, yeah. But here now, right where we are, you can't use that as a cover-up and a cover-all to say, well, Jesus forgave him, so let's move on. No. No, we shouldn't move on. There's no grace for this guy here on earth. He said to an acquaintance, I'm not going to jail for some pictures. Well, he is now. Good night, Sarah. He's going to have a hard time in jail. And good. Josh Duggar's kids have not been interviewed. Now that he has been convicted, there will be a court-ordered issue, and Anna will be excluded as the guardian present. Good. If anything, guys, the silver lining here is that his kids are going to be protected. But Anna, if she stands by this guy, and if he gets out of jail in 20 years, okay, the kids will be adults, thank God, and be done. But you guys have to realize that she is stuck here. Those kids, for the rest of their lives, because of the actions of Jim Bob and what's her face, exploiting their kids for fame and money, nobody's going to be able to live a normal life because they chose money over privacy, money over their kids' safety, money over everything. Their religion is money. It's not God and not the Bible. It's money. 100%. Because why cover up crimes otherwise? Because they needed the money. Minimum is 20 years. Good. Honestly, believe that. And I've said this tons of times on this show, multiple times. If you hurt children or have hurt children, okay, to me, there is no redemption. You don't get a second chance after that. Unfortunately, the law doesn't agree with me, but I don't think that you deserve a second chance after that. If you murder somebody or if you hurt children, no second chances. That's my opinion and my belief. Not a lot of people agree with me. A lot of people do agree with me. But when it comes to kids, I think we can all agree. If you've hurt kids or watched something where something had to be filmed, this type of, content, okay, child essay material, if you've watched it, you do not deserve to be in the world anymore. Okay? That's what I believe. 19 years. I love it. There's going to be so many good memes. You guys know it. He had a video of a 3-month-old being injured and hurt. That's why he needs... You're right. And that's why he needs to be put away for life. Okay, I apologize if I don't think you're dumb. Why make me treat like I'm dumb, Josh, when I've just been a supporter of you, even though I'm LDS, for asking who the Duggars are? Oh, no. I'm just kidding. The Duggars are a fundamental Christian family who was on 19 Kids and Counting. And likely because you're a Mormon, you probably grew up not being able to watch this stuff. But basically, in the end, if you didn't know, the Duggars had, I think, 20 kids. They were on TLC. They, the youngest, I think is the youngest? The boy, I don't know if he's youngest boy, middle boy, abused his sisters. And that came out a long time ago. And now it came out that he had child SA material. We're not calling it CP. It's SA material, CASM, on his computer, kids getting hurt, and just that type of material. And was caught red-handed with it all, and they just got convicted today for that. So I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. He's the oldest boy. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. I meant to say oldest, not youngest. But he did it to the youngest. And that's why I like this. Crowdsourced. I said something wrong, and y'all came out and called me. I love it. If anything that we're watching, though, this is hopeful because a lot of people don't see the justice. They don't see it, and they don't get it. And if we're watching Ghislaine Maxwell, there's no justice there, everybody. They're keeping everything quiet in that. It is really, really scary that one of the most prolific cases of trafficking is just being treated like, well, we're not going to tell anybody anything. We're going to keep it quiet, blah, blah, blah. We're going to redact everything. There should be protests outside of that courtroom. There should be massive protests that they're just going to allow that to just be buried. That's crazy. Yeah, timeline cleanse. Yeah, you want a timeline cleanse? Here we go. You're right. We need timeline cleanse. Let's do it. Sometimes you just need to let it go. Timeline cleanse it. Yeah, all the TLC shows. Now again, no, there's not one TLC show that where they exploited kids that ever came out good on the other side. None, not one. Yeah, oldest boys definitely have different, especially in fundamental religions. Yes, that's true. It's very true. So, all right. Well, I mean, covering it, we'll continue to watch. Obviously, the sentencing and everything else. I do want to cover Ghislaine Maxwell coming up. I will see it, as it kind of unfolds. We'll bring everything to the attention of everybody. That's a pretty big case, and the reason I kind of like am hesitant to cover it is because I don't think anything's going to come from it. Those people who did what they did, and we know that it was politicians and higher ups and really rich people, all of them who are on this, like, who are in his black book, who are on his manifest and everything else, none of them are going to be held accountable. They don't get to be asked questions, nothing. There's nothing is going to come from it, and you all know it. And that's why I'm like, It's almost like, why cover it? But I will, I promise. Yes, I do think Josh was hurt in the beginning. Yes. TLC needs to be canceled. They need to be like, they have only added to this. This doesn't, I honestly don't believe this shit happens without TLC in the picture. I honestly don't. Giving people money and just allowing this stuff to happen. Smash the like button on your way, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for Snarkmas Day 10. Holy smokes, we're getting there. You're amazing, and I hope that you have a good night. Try to, like, decompose, go watch Netflix, get something out of your brain. Stuff is really, really hard to watch, okay? So try not to let it, you know... Yes, I do have iced tea. Thank you. How'd you know, Gina? How'd you know? But you guys are incredible, and I hope you have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow.